Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on Patrick Tutors. Today we are talking about one of the most basic math concepts ever, and that is the order of operations. So, the saying that is basically used is called good old Pemdas, and Pemdas stands for, the P stands for parentheses, E is exponents, M is multiplication, D is for division, A is for addition, and S is for subtraction. So, you want to follow these all in order. So in a math problem, you want to solve the parentheses first, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. If there's no parentheses, then you go right to the E. There's no exponents, then you go right to multiplication, and so on. All right, let's get right into it. Okay, so here we are, our very first problem with the order of operations. So we have 3 plus 4 times 5. So you would normally think, right, 3 plus 4 is 7 times 5 equals 35, right? Well, the only problem with this is that this solution does not follow the order of operations. So if you go to m, which is multiplication, which is also the first step that is in the order of operations listed here, you would do 4 times 5 before you add, because the A comes after the M, and the A, once again, stands for good old addition. So you take 20, 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3, which equals 23, which is the right answer because it follows the order of operations. So in here, if we add 3 plus 4 times 5, and then parentheses, put 1 in there for now, then you would have to do 5 times 1 to begin because the P is first. So always remember this. It goes parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Okay, now let's move on to our next equation. We have 6 times 2 plus 5. So you might ask yourself here again, what do we do first? Well, we always have to remember good old PEMDAS. So 2 plus 5 is in a set of parentheses, meaning we will have to do P first, parentheses. So 2 plus 5 is 7. And those are still in the parentheses. So we can't do 6 times 2 or 6 times 5. We always have to do what's in here first. So in step 2 down here, step 2, step 1, we can't do anything left inside the parentheticals, so we will move on to our next step, which is E for the good old exponents, and as you can see, we don't have anything. So then we move on to our next step, which is multiplication, which is our last step. So 6 times 7, which would be 42, and 42 would be our solution here. So you always have to follow the order of operations, or else you won't be able to solve the problem in a manner that is right, if you will. Okay, let's move on to our third problem now. Okay, 3 times 8 divided by 4. So here you might be wondering what we do first. So you just always have to remember to follow PEMDAS, right? So we have no P, no E. So we're moving right on to step 3, which is multiplication. So you know that we have to do 3 times 8 first. What I've seen that always happens is that people do the 8 divided by 4 first, and that messes up the entire problem. So you always have to remember PEMDAS. It's not PEDMOS, it's PEMDAS. So multiplication first, remember that. So 3 times 8 would be 24. And then we have divided by the 4, which would equal 6. And that is your solution, because that would be our last step, because there's no need to add and there's no need to subtract. So many people argue that the M and the D are pretty much interchangeable, and it doesn't matter which step you do first. So here I'm just going to show you why that is wrong. So we're going to start off with the right way. So 4 times 2 is 8, 32, divided by 8, which would be 4. So the mathematical expression on the left is following the correct order of operations. Now we will move to the expression on the right and do it division first. So 32 divided by 4 is 8 times 2 equals 16. So these answers are very different, as the answer on the left would have to be square rooted, or an exponent, or not square rooted, and the answer on the right would have to be square rooted in order to get the answer on the left. So that's clearly not right. So the way we solve the problem on the left is the right way to do it. So you always want to follow your order of operations. You don't want to deviate, or else you will get it wrong, just like we did on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, so now we have our first problem with an exponent, right? So we still have to go through the exact same steps. So no p, but we do have an e this time. So we have 3 squared. So what this means is that 3 squared, so the 2, basically 3 times 3, because there's 2 3's, right? That equals 9. So 3 squared would be 9. So it's basically, when you have a number here, it can be a 2 or a 3 or a 4. All that means is it's how many times that you times this number by itself, if that makes sense. So here we have 3 squared. 3 times 3 is 9 because there's 2, and that's your exponent. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's step 2, exponent. Now we just have 4 times 9 left, which would be our last step. So 4 times 9 equals 36. And 36 would be your correct answer for this problem because we followed the order of operations. Now, if you were to just do 4 times 3, which would be 12, and then 12 times the exponent, which would be 144, that's clearly way off. So the order of operations is crucial in order to get your problems right. Before we move on, I just wanted to cover the good old exponent just a little bit more. So we're going to do 2 to the second power. We're going to do 2 to the third power, and we're going to do 2 to the fifth power. And I'm just going to show you what these mean, just in case you don't know. So that's 5, sorry, terrible handwriting. So 2 to the second power, as we've talked about, it's just 2 times 2, which would be 4. Because there is 2 2's that need to be accounted for. So now we have 2 to the third power in the second problem, so that's just 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, right? And then 4 times 2 would be 8. So there's 3 2's here. So now 2 to the fifth power. You rarely see 2 to the fifth power. The most I've ever seen is 2 to the fourth. And that was only once. And that was in a higher level math class. So it should be fine. So 2 times 2. That's 5 2's. That's a lot. You rarely see this. So 5 2's are here. 5 is your exponent. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. And 16 times 2 would be 32. And that would be your exponent answers right there. So hopefully that helps you guys a little bit. Okay, so this is definitely one of the harder problems that we're going to have tonight. So in parentheses, we have 2 to the third plus 5, end parentheses, minus 4. So you would think p first, right? So everything inside here. So you want to do 2 to the third power plus 5. Well, unfortunately, you can't do that because they aren't like terms. Every number ever has an exponent, but it's just a 1 that you can't see. So unfortunately, in order to add these terms, they both have to have a either a 3 or a 1, and obviously a 1 is so much easier to get. I'm not even sure if a 3 is possible. But so it's basically the same thing with a adding up a fraction, right? Or yeah. So when you have 3/5 plus 3/8, you got to make sure that they have like denominators in order to add them. It's basically the same thing with an exponent. So with that in mind, let's get to solving. So as we talked about in the previous slide, 2 to the third exponent is just 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8. So we have 8 plus 5 minus 4. Now we go back to the start of our order of operations. So every time we do one, I guess, if you will, like one part of the problem, we have to go back to the start and evaluate our Pemdas. So 8 plus 5 now, because it's our P, it's in a parenthetical. 13 minus 4. And because there's nothing left to do in the parentheses, sorry, that's the 13, terrible handwriting, you would just subtract the 13 minus 4 because there's no other steps. So we go right to the end of the S, and 13 minus 4, of course, is 9. And 9 would be our correct answer on this problem. Okay, so here we have our last problem of the night. It's definitely the hardest. 10 divided by 3 plus 2 times 4 plus 5 to the second power plus 6 minus 9. So I know that this problem seems like a lot and it looks overwhelming, but you just have to follow the order of operations and you'll be just perfect. So first step would be parentheses, right? So 10's not in parentheses, so we stick with the 10 divided by, oh, that's in parentheses, so what's 3 plus 2? 5, right, easy, times 4 plus 5 squared plus 6 minus 9. All right. Now we have no more parentheses, so now we go to exponents. So the 10's not an exponent, right? No exponent there. The 5 is not an exponent. The 4 is not in an exponent. Oop, but that 5 is. So remember how we did with the 2's? It's just 2 2's. This is 2 5's. So it's just 5 times 5. So plus 25. Plus 6 minus 9. Okay, so here's where it gets a little bit challenging. So our 5 here is still in parentheses. So when you have a term that's in parentheses, you always have to do what's before it, not behind it. So I know that the m comes first here, so you want to do 5 times 4. But because the 10 and the division sign come before the 5, you have to do that. So 10 divided by 5 would be 2. And now it's out of parentheses. Now you're just good to go. So plus 4 plus 25 plus 6 minus 9. Okay, now I just moved to the top. So we have 2 times 4 plus 25 plus 6 minus 9. So now we have to restart the Pemdas process again, as always. So no parentheses, no exponents, but we do have multiplication. So 2 times 4 would be 8 plus, no multiplication there, plus 6 minus 9. Okay, so now we have 8 plus 25 plus 6 minus 9. So now we have to restart. No parentheses, no exponents, no multiplication, no division. Now we're on to addition. So 8 plus 25 is 33. Then we have 33 plus 6 minus 9. Then we have addition yet again. 33 plus 6, which would be 39. Minus 9. So your final answer of that big problem was 30. And that problem was pretty tough. You most likely won't see a problem that long. I mean, you might, but there's a high likelihood that it'll be a little bit smaller than that, which is very helpful because those problems get tedious really quickly, as you can tell. There are a few rules to follow and a few little tricks to know, but I feel like I showed you everything that I've learned through those tricks in this video today. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. A new upload is coming every week on Tuesday now, so if you guys want more videos, please comment what you would want me to do in the comments, and I will do them happily. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day. Cheers. Bye.